Most people spend their entire lives chained to their own emotions. They're dragged around by anger, fear, insecurity, and every small irritation that crosses their path. One careless comment ruins their mood. One small setback derails their entire day. They don't realize they're being controlled every second by reactions they never learned to master. But there is another path, a path only a few ever discover. A path that separates those who are ruled by emotion from those who rule with strategy. A path that turns your mind into something sharp, disciplined, and impossible to manipulate. 5 centuries ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli studied this truth with ruthless clarity. While others were lost in fantasies about how humans should be, he observed people exactly as they are. He watched leaders rise and crumble, watched kingdoms thrive and collapse, and uncovered the real mechanics behind power, control, and survival. What he found was uncomfortable and undeniably true. Today, you're going to learn the same insights, the mental rewiring that erases emotional weakness and replaces it with strategic intelligence. By the end of this, you won't see people the same way. You won't see yourself the same way. And the world will look different forever. Before we move into the first principle, drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my emotions. Number 1, never show your true face. The moment people can read what's happening inside you, you lose your advantage. Most individuals walk through life exposing everything, their frustrations, their excitement, their disappointment, all written clearly across their expressions. They think this makes them genuine or honest, but in reality, it hands their power to everyone around them. Imagine a poker game. The weakest player is always the one whose emotions spill out instantly. Their smile reveals when they're holding strong cards. Their frown exposes when they're losing. They don't need to say a word, their face betrays them. Life works exactly the same way, except the stakes are far higher than a card table. When you show anger, people know exactly how to provoke you. When you show fear, they know how to corner you. When you show desire, they know which strings to pull to guide your actions. Once you become predictable, you become easy to manipulate. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He watched rulers who reacted emotionally to every push and pull. They would lash out the moment they felt insulted, retreat the second they felt intimidated, or leap too quickly when excitement clouded their judgment. Those leaders fell quickly, every time, defeated by people who kept their inner world concealed. He famously said that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few ever understand who you truly are. That truth is a warning. People judge you based solely on what you display. So why reveal your fears, your insecurities, your impulses, or your weaknesses? Wearing a mask isn't pretending. It's protection. It's strategy. Your emotions are information, and information is leverage. When you give that leverage away freely, you make yourself vulnerable. Look at the most composed, unshakable individuals you've ever met. They aren't emotionless. They simply learn to separate what they feel internally from what they show externally. They maintain a neutral exterior while their mind calculates the next step. When life hands them something good, they stay calm and quietly consider how to use it. When something goes wrong, their face doesn't flinch while they plan the next move. When someone tries to provoke them, they offer no reaction that reveals whether it worked. This isn't coldness, it's command. Control over yourself is control over the situation. Start practicing this today. When something angers you, keep your expression steady. When something excites you, don't broadcast it. When people try to interpret you, let them find nothing. The moment others can't read you, they lose the ability to influence you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I reveal nothing. Number 2, see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. This part may sting, but it's one of the most important truths you'll ever learn. Most people are not who you imagine them to be. The reason you misjudge them isn't because they fooled you, it's because you projected your own values onto them. If you're loyal, you naturally assume others are loyal. If you're honest, you take people's words at face value. If you're kind, you expect kindness to be returned. And that's exactly how people get blindsided, disappointed, and taken advantage of. Machiavelli refused to see the world through illusions. He didn't label people as good or bad, he simply observed them as they truly behaved, inconsistent, self-focused, and driven by whatever benefits them in the moment. And whether we like it or not, that assessment is accurate more often than we care to admit. This doesn't mean everyone is horrible. It means humans are complex. Most people are supportive until support becomes inconvenient. They're truthful until lying offers an advantage. They're loyal until loyalty costs them something. This isn't pessimism. It's reality. The real problem is that we refuse to see these patterns because we want to believe the best in people. That hope blinds us to their actual behavior. Machiavelli warned that those who deceive will always find someone willing to be deceived. Don't let that someone be you. The way you prevent this is simple. Watch what people do, not what they say. Words are cheap. Promises are free. Actions require effort, and effort reveals truth. A person's real character appears when it's difficult, inconvenient, or when nobody is watching. Do they show up when you have nothing to offer? Do they stay consistent when there's no benefit to them? Do they keep their word even when it costs them? For most people in your life, the answer is probably no. And accepting that truth is liberating, not depressing. When you see people clearly, you protect yourself. You stop investing energy into one-sided relationships. You stop expecting loyalty from people who have never demonstrated it. You stop giving endless chances to those who show you the same behavior repeatedly. This doesn't mean you become cold or suspicious. It means you become wise. You observe patterns. You test people over time. You treat them according to their proven behavior, not your fantasies about who they could be. The friend who gossips about others will gossip about you. The person who only shows up during good times will vanish when things get hard. The one who disrespects others will eventually disrespect you. See it. Believe it. Adjust accordingly. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I see truth clearly. Number 3, kill your emotional reactions. Let's be brutally honest, emotional reactions ruin more situations than the actual problem ever does. Every one of us has had moments where we reacted instantly, with anger, with hurt, with panic, and made everything worse. That happens because emotions move faster than reason. They don't analyze. They don't think. They just explode. Your emotional brain evolved to react to danger instantly, without reflection. That helped when our ancestors were escaping predators. But in a modern world full of strategy, manipulation, and subtle power games, that instinct becomes a liability. Machiavelli studied this downfall again and again. He watched people sabotage themselves because they couldn't restrain their first impulse. Someone insulted them, and they jumped into conflict. Someone challenged them, and they overreacted. Someone provoked them, and they walked right into a trap. The pattern was always the same: react quickly, lose immediately. So what's the solution? It's surprisingly simple. Never respond to anything important in the heat of the moment. When something triggers you, anger, jealousy, fear, excitement, that feeling is not a command. It's a warning signal telling you to pause, not act. Take a breath. Take an hour. Take a day if you need to. Let the emotional wave pass before you make any choice. Because here's the truth. Your first emotional perception is almost always exaggerated and almost always wrong. Your brain is reacting to its own interpretation, not reality. Machiavelli famously said that the wise act at the right moment, while fools act immediately and regret it later. The difference between them is simple: the wise wait for clarity before taking decisive action. When you delay your reaction, everything shifts. You start seeing details you missed. You start recognizing motives you didn't notice. You start understanding the bigger picture instead of the emotional punch in front of you. Then, when you finally respond, your response becomes intentional instead of impulsive, strategic instead of emotional. Think of the last time someone provoked you and you wanted to fire back instantly. If you had waited just one day, you would have understood the situation with a clearer mind. Maybe they were projecting their own insecurities. Maybe they were trying to get a reaction. Maybe your response didn't even matter as much as you thought in the moment. Once your emotions settle, your perspective becomes sharper. Create this rule in your life starting today. If strong emotion is involved, the decision gets delayed. No exceptions. No rushing. No reacting out of fear, anger, or excitement. Your emotions are not your enemy, but they are terrible decision makers. Let them alert you, but don't let them steer you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose my response. Number 4, fortune favors the prepared. Always have a backup plan. If you want to know the fastest way to collapse under pressure, here it is: rely on a single path. Put all your trust in one plan, one person, one opportunity, one direction. Life does not reward those who depend on only one option. Life shifts. Circumstances flip. Stability disappears in an instant. And when that happens, people with only one route forward are the first to fall. Machiavelli saw this pattern constantly. Someone would be confident in their position, comfortable, secure, certain everything would stay the same. But the moment an unexpected event swept through, everything unraveled. A political shift, a betrayal, a financial blow, a sudden threat, and suddenly that one perfect plan meant nothing. They had nothing else to fall back on. The ones who survived weren't the ones with the strongest initial strategy. They were the ones who prepared secondary paths, alternative options, and escape routes long before they needed them. They always had a plan B, and a plan C, and sometimes even a plan D. Machiavelli warned that desire alone is useless without preparation. You may be willing, determined, even ambitious, but if you don't anticipate disruptions, you will get destroyed the moment life stops cooperating with your expectations. Think about your own life. If your main income disappeared tomorrow, what happens? Do you have additional skills? Savings? Alternative sources? Useful connections? Or would you be stuck with no direction? If the person you rely on most suddenly vanished from your life, would you be able to stand on your own? Could you support yourself emotionally, socially, financially? Or would everything collapse instantly? This law is not about paranoia. It's about eliminating vulnerability. Dependence is the root of weakness. When a single thing is your lifeline, that thing controls you. And if it disappears, you fall with it. Options create power. Options create freedom. Options create stability. With multiple paths, no single loss can trap you. No threat can intimidate you. No change can break you. Start today by identifying the areas where you rely on only one source, one plan, or one person. Where are you overly dependent? That's your danger zone. Your job is to build a secondary option before you ever need it. Create financial backups. Build multiple skills. Strengthen social networks. Cultivate independence in every area of life. This is what Machiavelli meant by adaptability, the ability to adjust instantly because you already prepared for multiple possible futures. Life will change. Plans will fail. Circumstances will flip without warning. But if you're prepared, nothing can take you out. You simply pivot and continue forward. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I prepare for everything. Number 5, power respects power. Never negotiate from weakness. Here's a truth people avoid because it makes them uncomfortable. Respect doesn't come from kindness. It comes from strength. Not cruelty, not manipulation, strength. Strength in your abilities, your independence, your boundaries, and your willingness to walk away when something doesn't serve you. Whenever you need something more than the other person needs you, you're already at a disadvantage. They can sense your desperation. They can smell when you're clinging to approval, attention, validation, or acceptance, and human nature pushes people to exploit what is weak, not honor it. It's not because people are evil. It's because that's how power works. If you chase validation, people withhold it. If you crave attention, people ignore you. If you're desperate for help, people take advantage. But when you don't need anything from anyone, something fascinating happens. Suddenly, everyone starts giving you what you used to beg for. Machiavelli understood these power dynamics better than almost anyone. He knew people respect strength and dismiss weakness. Those who carry themselves with self-sufficiency get treated differently because their value is undeniable. Those who rely on approval become easy to control. He famously wrote that being respected out of strength lasts longer than being liked out of convenience. Because when someone only likes you, they turn on you the moment it stops benefiting them. But when someone respects your capability, they think twice before crossing you. So how do you build this kind of power? First, develop independence. Stop depending on others to make you feel important. Stop needing constant reassurance. Stop tying your identity to how people treat you. Become someone who can stand alone without collapsing. Second, build options. When you can choose between multiple opportunities, people cannot trap you with a single one. When you have multiple people you can collaborate with, no single person can dictate your worth. Options create freedom. Third, increase your value. Grow skills that are uncommon and difficult to replace. The more capable you are, the more leverage you carry in every interaction. When people need what you offer, the power shifts naturally toward you. Fourth, create boundaries. Refuse to tolerate disrespect. Refuse to say yes to everything. Refuse to be endlessly available. Boundaries are the clearest signal of self-respect. When you enforce them, people adjust their behavior to meet your standards. The people who get used, ignored, or walked over are almost always the ones who fear losing others more than they fear losing themselves. They trade dignity for acceptance, and get neither in the end. When you stop negotiating from weakness, you stop begging for scraps of respect. Build yourself into someone powerful, someone who can walk away at any moment because you are not dependent on anyone's approval or resources. That kind of strength instantly commands respect without you saying a word. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I operate from strength. Number 6. Timing is everything. Strike when the iron is hot. There is one silent killer that destroys more potential than failure ever could: hesitation. Most people recognize opportunities but freeze the moment action is required. They overthink. They wait for certainty. They wait for the perfect moment. And while they wait, the window closes and someone bolder steps in and takes what could have been theirs. Machiavelli understood that success is not just about making the right move, it's about making that move at the right time. The same decision taken too early or too late can turn advantage into disaster. Timing separates those who win from those who wait. He saw leaders with talent, resources, and capability fail simply because they hesitated at the critical moment. They doubted themselves, paused to look for more reassurance, or feared rejection, and in that brief hesitation, the opportunity vanished. Meanwhile, those who acted decisively, even without perfect information, rose to power because they understood that certain doors don't stay open forever. There are moments in life when circumstances align, when an opening appears, when a small action can lead to massive change. These moments are rare. They are fleeting. And they do not repeat. But here's the challenge. Your emotions will scream at you to wait. Fear will whisper that it's not the right time. Doubt will convince you to think just a little longer. And every second you hesitate, your advantage drains away. Your strategic mind knows the truth: perfect conditions don't exist. Progress requires action despite uncertainty. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving before fear convinces you to stop. Think of every major success story you've ever heard. Someone noticed a moment others ignored. They acted while everyone else was waiting. They moved before the crowd understood what was happening. They didn't have guarantees, they had timing, and that was enough. Opportunities often disguise themselves as chaos, instability, or uncomfortable change. Most people step back during those moments. But that is precisely when the greatest openings appear. When you see a chance, analyze quickly. Decide with clarity. Move without delay. Not recklessly, decisively. If you wait for too long, the moment evaporates. Someone else will seize it. Or circumstances will shift. Or the chance will close forever. Hesitation is the enemy of progress. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I act with precision. Number 7. The end justifies the means. Focus on results, not approval. This is Machiavelli's most famous principle, and also the most misunderstood. People often twist it into something dark, as if it encourages cruelty or recklessness. But that's not what it means at all. What Machiavelli was actually saying is far more practical and far more powerful. Stop obsessing over whether people approve of your methods. Worry about whether your methods work. No matter what you do, you will be judged. If you succeed, people will criticize how you achieved it. If you fail, they'll criticize you for not achieving it at all. Approval is a game you can never win, because the rules change depending on who's watching. So stop trying to please people who aren't living your life, don't share your vision, and won't take responsibility for your outcomes. Successful people don't rise by chasing validation. They rise by doing what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable, even when others disapprove, even when it requires bold action that makes people uneasy. Think of every person who made a real impact on the world. At some point, they were called extreme, unreasonable, too aggressive, too ambitious, too different. They were criticized, doubted, mocked, but they pushed forward anyway, because they were focused on the mission, not the opinions surrounding it. Machiavelli understood this truth. People remember your results, not the obstacles you faced or the criticism you endured. When you succeed, the world rewrites the story in your favor. Your bold decisions suddenly become visionary. Your determination becomes genius. Your methods become necessary. But if you fail because you played it too safe, because you tried to please everyone, because you were afraid of judgment, nobody applauds your caution. Nobody respects your good intentions. Nobody celebrates your effort. Results matter. Intentions fade. Approval is irrelevant. This does not mean harming others or abandoning your moral compass. It means refusing to let fear of judgment control your actions. It means understanding that the pursuit of approval is a trap that steals your power, slows your progress, and weakens your resolve. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't need everyone to understand your path. What you need is the courage to stay committed to your vision, even when people doubt you, even when your methods aren't traditional, even when others don't see the bigger picture yet. Focus on the outcome. Move with purpose. Let results speak for you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Results define me. So now you've seen it, 7 sharp, uncomfortable truths that most people will never wake up to. None of this is about being cruel, cold, or heartless. It's about refusing to live life on emotional autopilot. Society loves telling you to be transparent, soft, predictable, agreeable. And look around. The people who listen to that advice are the ones getting stepped on. If you want to live like everyone else, then keep doing what everyone else does. Wear your emotions on your sleeve. Trust blindly. Wait for permission. Hope people approve. But if you're watching this, you already know you're not here to blend in. You're here because you want control over your life, not a life controlled by others. Machiavelli never wrote for the crowd. He wrote for the person who dares to think differently. The person who refuses to be manipulated. The person who wants results, not applause. And that hasn't changed. The world is still competitive. It still rewards the strategic and punishes the naive. The only difference now is simple. You are no longer blind to the game. You understand what others don't. You can read people instead of projecting onto them. You can control your reactions instead of being ruled by them. You can move with calculation instead of emotion. That's what gives you the advantage. Now the question is, will you use it? Before you click away, leave a comment and tell me. Which strategy are you going to start applying first? Because your results begin the moment you take action. If this video sharpened your thinking, hit the like button so more people can discover these lessons. Subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications. We're breaking down deeper mind-shifting strategies every week. Remember this, success doesn't belong to the loudest, the kindest, or the nicest. It belongs to the person who understands the game and knows how to play it with precision. You are now that person. Stop reacting. Start directing. Stop giving your power away. Start using it. Final affirmation, type it in the comments. I am the strategist.